Hey campers, how's everybody holding up out there in the clapocalypse? Hope good. This lovely day at Camp One Clap shall be graced by the positive energies of Lander Valley High School alum and current Casper College Forensics team member Josie House. Josie's here to chat about college level forensics and more. I'm your camp director and host of the One Clap Speech and Debate podcast, Lyle Wiley. It's my hope that this year's Camp One Clap is providing inspiration and resources to encourage speech and debate coaches and competitors to kickstart the best season ever. Quick reminder, check the One Clap socials for today's social media challenge, and let me tell you a little bit about today's guest, Josie. Josie House is a speech and debate fiend and a real-life Elle Woods. She graduated from Lander Valley High School and is currently taking on the college circuit as a Casper College talking T-bird. Having tried just about every event, Josie has settled into platform and debate with an interp thrown into the mix for balance. She's excited to join the One Clap roster as a camp counselor. It's time to jump right into my interview with camp staffer Josie House. Welcome to Camp One Clap 2, the Clapocalypse. I'm here with Josie House, who's going to help us navigate this terrifying landscape in front of us. Hi, Josie. Thanks for being here.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
I've known Josie for a while as a really fabulous competitor at Lander, and now she's competing at Casper College. And yeah, I'm really excited to talk to you, Josie. Thanks for being here.
I'm really excited. I love talking about speech. It's my favorite thing ever. So,
well, awesome. Like I love talking about it too, and I'm excited to have you here. So, we're dealing with the clapocalypse here, which, you know, it's kind of spooky, a little bit scary. So I want to hear from you first about what your favorite scary story is. Book, movie, spoken word. What scares you?
Okay, so I really grew up around campfires and like campfire stories. So everything that I loved and thought was spooky was like, you know, stories about like the water babies and like all like this, I think it's really popular, like native folklore. And so I heard about like the little people and Bigfoot and like all this stuff that would be up in the mountains. And it was always like, it always freaked me out because we'd be telling scary stories in the campfire and then we'd like try to go back to our tent and try to go to sleep. And we're like, nope, it's not happening because we're like so freaked out. So that's always the stuff that's like scared me the most is like what's out in the mountains.
Yeah, there's something about too like telling those stories in the dark.
Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere, you know. Ooh.
No,
yeah.
It gets in your head. You feel like you're so brave and then you're like, "Oh wait, nope, now I'm scared. I can't go to sleep."
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, I don't think of myself as very brave. I'm pretty much scared all the time. So it just increases the amount of fear and terror that I feel. But yeah, so I know what
scary
you mean.
situations sometimes, for sure.
So talking about scary stuff, like a little role playing here. Let's say there's this like event, an apocalyptic event, and we're living in a dystopian reality, a post-apocalyptic wasteland. So do you think your chances of survival would be pretty good, Josie, or do you think they wouldn't be great? On a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you are? You gonna live?
So here's the thing. I say that I'm super brave and I feel like maybe I am. I feel like my tactic would be to like go hide up in the mountains. And so I feel like, you know, I could start a campfire. I could maybe whittle something. I feel like I could whittle. But I feel like I just go like hide out in the mountains, just like build a little cabin and like try to hide from it all. But if it came down to like hand-to-hand combat, I'm gone. I'm gone so quick. I'm not fast. I'm not agile. I terrible aim. But, you know, I feel like if I can avoid it, I might be okay. I'll just like go start a little hut place that I can hide out in.
So you have some survival skills, but you don't feel like you have conflict survival skills.
Oh, absolutely not. If something starts coming at me, I think I'm just going to accept defeat. I don't know. I'm not too hands-on.
I understand that. I like your level of confidence about maybe being able to hide out though. I mean, I've talked to quite a few people.
Cave, you know, something like that.
Yeah, no, there's places and ways to survive. Most of the folks I've talked to on the podcast so far have very little faith in their ability to survive in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. So it sounds like yours is probably actually pretty decent. Might put you at a solid 7 or 8, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah,
it's impressive. So let's go ahead and shift gears. I want to talk to you about speech and debate, and let's start at the very beginning. Like for you, what got you into speech and debate? Like, what's your speech and debate origin story? How'd you get started in this?
Oh
Why'd you
my
stick around?
gosh. So my oldest brother, Josh, he did speech and debate in high school. And then he also was a coach for a while at Cypress College in California. And so when it came time for me to like enter high school, he was like, Josie, you're absolutely crazy. You need to go do speech. And I was like, I have never heard of this before. Okay. And so I went to and found I had to like hunt down my program because it was so tiny. And so I like went to this practice, and I didn't really have a lot of like hands-on coaching when I was in high school. So it was a mess. But I worked with my brother a lot, and I just it was a lot of trial and error. My first tournament was literally 6 people on my team. So we were itty bitty. But I went to my first tournament and I did poetry, and it was terrible. It was so bad. I had no idea what I was doing, but I fell in love with it. I thought it was so cool, and I thought it was super fun. I met so many fun people, and I was hooked. And then I just kept going. I was a fiend. I loved it.
That's a good way to put it. A fiend. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you, in high school, you were primarily a interpretive event person. Is that right? Like some
Um,
platform?
Literally, I think I did just about everything. I think
Mhm.
maybe the only events that I haven't touched, I know I didn't do extemp and I didn't do Congress. Um, but I did debate every year. I always got the debate fever, so I'd always be like, "Oh, I'm going to be a debater," and then I'd go do a couple tournaments, and I was like, "Never mind, I don't want to be a debater." I did consistently do interps all the time, and then I found platform in my junior year, and that's when it kind of really took off for me. And I really like figured out that platform was kind of something I was good at. So yeah, I did just about everything. I loved trying new events. So
Yeah, and so you were kind of part of the Lander resurgence too, right? Like the team rebuilding and kind of
yeah,
getting finding some success and
I did a lot of recruiting in my school. I would always like we had like a high school like orientation for our freshmen, but the speech and debate team for some reason had never had a table. So I bugged my coach and was like, "Hey, we need to go do a table." And so yeah, I like did a lot of recruiting. I actually lost like my coach quit, and then I had to like get new coaches, so I bugged my principal a lot to make sure that I would get a senior season. And then like yeah, I sat down and helped like do our tournament schedule. I like started an Instagram, and like so by the time I left, I heard that this last year the people that I kind of passed everything down to, I heard that we had about a team of like 20. So that was really exciting to hear that we had gone from like 6 to like 20. So that was really cool. I've loved seeing it grow. My biggest accomplishment in life is that my team was able to win state for 3A my sophomore year. That was so exciting. So yeah, it was one of the coolest things ever to kind of go from just this tiny team that nobody really knew to kind of try to make it something.
that is really exciting. It's a cool feeling to building a team is like building a legacy. It's really great.
It was so
Um,
fun.
yeah, and so you did a lot of different events at Lander, and then you're competing with Casper College now. So what are your like what's your favorite event you think?
Oh my gosh. That is such a hard question to answer. I think about it a lot, honestly, just in my free time. I'm like, what do I like the best? Um, I would say that I think as far as high school and college goes, I think I have to say duo is my favorite. I've always loved getting to work with a partner, and I love the idea of like acting wise getting to like bounce off another person like when you're in a scene. And I also think that like some of the blocking that you get to do in duo is just like super cool. So I've always loved putting duos together and like working with somebody. I've always thought that that was fun.
Yeah, I love watching duos. They're very dynamic, like
So
a lot of
fun.
energy a lot of times, and just a lot of like creative things you can do with two people as opposed to
I'm
one.
never bored in a duo round. I will always seek them out. I love them so much. They're so fun.
What is it? What's college level competition like? How's it different from high school? How is it kind of similar? What have you really liked about it?
Oh my goodness. This last season, learning the college circuit was very much a learning experience, but it was so fun. They're very different in quite a few ways, but they're also kind of similar. One of the most exciting things that I learned when I started the season in college was that every single like interp that we have gets a book. So even our duo, we have 2 books, and then like drama has books. I think that was really fun, and I was like really nervous about it at first because I was like, oh my gosh, how do I do duo and then like interact with my partner and also hold a book? But it actually you can do like so many cool things with it. And I remember at our Pyro Pie, my whole team went and watched the semifinals round for duo, And there was this one duo in there. I don't even remember where they're from, but they had just the most amazing blocking that I'd ever seen. It was so cool. But I think, like, broad level, I think that the college circuit is a little bit more like kind of like intense in some ways. Like, it's a lot more like professional. I mean, there's a big difference that we have like these older adults as opposed to, like, freshmen and sophomores in high school. So we have a lot more like kind of like strictness. It's very like a more professional setting. You're kind of quiet and like you walk with like lots of grace and you're not really like running amok or running around. I remember like I went to like a couple college tournaments and then I went back to a high school tournament. People are napping on the floor and running around and like it's just very different in that sense. But there's still like you still get to meet so many amazing people and like do all of this fun stuff. And I love getting to interact with like other teams and other coaches. So it's really fun, but they're definitely a little different. We go in very prepared for every tournament. And so I remember like there are definitely times in high school where I was like, oh, I'm going to like throw this duo together very last minute, or I'm going to do this weekend. And that is just not the case. Everything is very structured. And yeah, we definitely have a lot of like purpose when we go into a round. We're not just like, oh, I'm going to try this for fun. It's very much like, this is the event I've practiced. This is the event I've been coached on. This is what I'm going to be doing for my team. But it is like, not at all is it any less fun. It is so fun. I love getting to travel and see different campuses. I've gotten to go see a lot of different colleges. I love getting to meet new people that have been doing it for as long as I have. That's really fun. So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, like intentionality or something.
Yeah.
Still fun, but just really
Absolutely.
intentional. Yeah.
Yes.
Are you thinking you might try to do more competition at the college level after this year, or what are you thinking?
I honestly am not really sure. I'll be a sophomore this year, so I'll be graduating hopefully in the spring with my associates. And so I'm not entirely sure where I'm gonna go after that. Part of me is thinking I might stay in Casper, but I'm not sure. If I do have the opportunity to keep doing speech, I might. You definitely talk to a lot of people who are in their second year at college and they're kind of like, man, I'm starting to get burnt out. Like don't have as many ideas as I used to have or stuff like that. And I definitely do think that that can be the case. So I'll kind of just have to see how this year goes. But I don't really see myself getting tired of speech anytime soon. I love it so much. So I think I could do it for a while still.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some things that you maybe learned about yourself or the activity this season that were unique to this year.
Oh my goodness. Like I said, I think it was really interesting because I didn't really come from a program in high school that was like super strict or like had a lot of structure. And so going into Casper College, I found myself really having to learn how to like work with coaches and work with like a more like professional setting. And that was really interesting to me, especially because I kind of tended to be in charge of things in high school, and now I wasn't in charge of anything. Like my senior season, I kind of got to pick the tournaments that we went to, and like I was kind of helping like run behind the scenes. So going into college, I was like having these meetings and having these very like solid expectations set upon me. And so it was really nerve-wracking because I was really scared that like I wasn't going to like, live up to like this legacy of what Casper College had. But it was a lot of learning to be brave, learning to fake it till you make it, and really changing your mindset about how you enter rounds. Because if you go in with like this scared mindset, you're probably not going to do as well. And like, it's really a lot about, for me, it was a lot about learning how to like take critique and just take it one round at a time instead of thinking like so big picture, because it just freaks me out. So it's really like taking it one round at a time, going in with confidence and trusting that like I know what I'm doing and I've done well before and like I can do well again, kind of thing.
Yeah, and you've been doing quite a bit of debate, right? Like at Casper College too, which is like not. I mean, we talked about that. You did debate at the high school level, but then you were always kind of like, oh, I don't know if this is really for me. But you're doing that on the regular for Casper College. Have you enjoyed that? Have you enjoyed doing the debate?
Oh, this is such a funny thing to talk about. So we went to a tournament, our first tournament of the year in college. And one unique thing about the way that we do debate is it's like extemp debate. So we get 30 minutes to prep and then you go in. And so one thing that our team does is we try to help each other prep, because sometimes it's really easy to like get really overwhelmed. And so sometimes our debaters would say like, hey guys, we need some people with us to just like Google things for us. Just like help us find evidence, help us find articles. And so I was like, okay, I can do that. that. And so I go up there with my computer and I'm like, this is fun. I like helping. And so I like helped prep, and like some people were like, wow, Josie, you were really helpful. Like, thank you. And I was like, wait, should I be a debater? And so then I told my coaches, I was like, hey, maybe I want to do debate, because I didn't have all my events up yet anyways. So I was like, yeah, let's switch out poetry for debate. Why not? And then I went to my first tournament and did debate. And I kind of like, I feel like I fumbled my way through it, but I did end up like getting like third or something. And so they were like, okay, well, now you're going to be a debater. And I was like, oh, okay, got it. So I kept debating, because I kind of found success that one tournament. And I was really surprised that it was actually something that I apparently can do kind of well. I would get like speaker awards, so I was like, whoa, like that's kind of cool. But if you ask anybody on my team, I spend most of my time stressing about debate. I'm always, every time debate day rolls around, I'm like, oh no, it's debate day. I'm so stressed. But when I go into tournament and when I go into each round, I'm like, oh, this is so fun. I love it. So I have a really complicated relationship with debate, but I do like it. But I don't know. It's complicated. It's a really big joke on my team, because I spend all of my time like, debate. And then I go in and I'm like, this is so fun. So it's confusing.
A little bit of a love-hate relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe, borderline toxic. Hopefully not.
I really do like it. I think it's really fun, but I don't know, something about it. I'm just like, again.
Yeah. I do think, it just takes a little bit of time to get used to the pressure that comes with debate, I think, is part of it.
And I think also the big thing for me is that, like, well, just like in high school, you do more prelim rounds in debate than you do for your speech rounds. So at Phiro Pi, I would do each of my like interp events like 3 times, but then I was doing like 6 prelim rounds for debate. And when you do it, and then also in college, we do like 1 day of debate most of the time. So it's like 1 day is all debate, the next day is like everything else. And so when you do like 6 rounds back after back after back, it's like exhausting. That was something I did not like prepare for. My first tournament, I found out that I was going to do them all in 1 day, and I was like, whoa, I'm going to do debate 6 times, no break? You kidding me? But you get through it, you get tired, you drink energy drinks like we all do, and then you survive.
Yeah, it is kind of an endurance test, though. It's true.
Absolutely.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, you know me, I'm a fan of debate. So, welcome to the dark side. And I think I'm sure you're doing a really good job.
Thank you.
I do think it's time for our ghostly interlude.
Insert spooky noises.
Yeah, I've been asking folks if they believe in ghosts and the paranormal, just to kind of see what they think. What do you think? Are you a believer?
Here's my thing. I want to say no. I want to be like, no, I don't believe in ghosts. Like that's whatever. However, I would never touch a Ouija board, and I would rather die than go into an abandoned building. So while I'm like, no, I don't really think so, I'm also like, I'm kind of scared to say that, because what if they hear me? Like, if they are out there, what if they like come and get me? So I don't really know. It's kind of an interesting thing, because I remember like growing up, like my dad would be like, like, don't be afraid of ghosts, because they're probably just sitting in a building. Like, what are they doing? They're just sitting in a building, like playing cards, waiting for somebody to come in, and then what do? Turn on and off the lights and slam doors? Come on. And I was like, you know what? When you put it like that, that's like, yeah, I'm not afraid of ghosts. But then I'm also like, I would rather die than touch a Ouija board. So, it's a complicated thing.
So you think there's probably something out there, but you'd rather just leave it alone. You don't really want to know.
Yeah, I'm like probably not, but just in case there is, I'm going to be respectful.
All right.
Just to save myself.
It's a pretty smart response, probably.
Yeah.
So back to some speech and debate stuff, although it's kind of, it's sort of connected. Mm-hmm. We're going to be talking about overcoming fears and obstacles at camp with a bunch of folks this year. And so I was curious if you had some stories about, spooky obstacles or scary times in speech that you had that then helped you learn or grow or had some impact on you. Do you have anything cool?
I think something that I learned this season the most was that you really have to one of the things that I loved about college was that I got to be on a team with all of these amazing people from around the state. However, with that, there was a lot of fear because it is really hard to be on a team with people where, especially like when you don't have like the most confidence, it's really hard to be on a team with all these people that you know are just so amazing because there's a lot of pressure there, especially when you're on a team that is known to like do really well. There's just a lot of pressure there. And so one thing that I really had to figure out was like, and it kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier, it's just like not psyching yourself out. One of the scariest things that I've had to do was like compete against some of my own teammates and be like, oh my gosh, like this is like scary. But it's also really cool to know that some of the best competition is on your own team. And that's really awesome. Like we had a couple times where our duo rounds, 4 out of 6 of us were from Casper College, and that was really cool. But it's also like kind of scary because you're going against like some of your best friends and like trying to duke it out in round. And yeah, it can be really intimidating, but I think really just learning to take things one round at a time. That was one of the best pieces of advice that I was given, is that, you know, everyone is capable of making mistakes, whether or not you have the most phenomenal track record or you're brand new. Like everyone is capable of going into a round and biffing it. And so like we are all like, one thing we said a lot is like we are all just people. And so really going in and learning to take it one round at a time, because that's really the only thing you can control is the next round. So I think that was one of the best things that I had to kind of work through, but it was also one of the most scary things that I had to like be a part of was, you know, competing against your own teammates and feeling scared, but it's worth like working through.
Yeah, it is kind of a powerhouse group at the Casper College. A lot of really talented people there. So I
Yeah,
bet
you
that
look
is,
at our roster, you're like, whoa, that's crazy.
yeah, it's cool to be a part of a team like that. But yeah,
Yeah, it's so fun.
I'm sure that there's a little bit of pressure, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's got to be awkward to compete against each other too. I know that's
kind of. Yeah,
yeah,
really weird, but
yeah. Well, I am curious what's next for you. Like we talked about this a little bit, the possibility of maybe going into speech after
mhm.
this year. But yeah, what's the plan? Like what are you studying right now? What's your long-term plan?
So my freshman year, I changed my major like 4 times. Anyone who tells you that you can go in and stick to one thing, probably not true because I mean, maybe some people do, but I changed my major a lot. Right now, I am in the pre OT program here, so I'm hoping to graduate with my associates for occupational therapy, like my pre to get into the program. And then we have like a joint program with the University of North Dakota. So I'm kind of hoping to get in there, which would mean that I would stay in Casper and then I can work all the way up to my master's so that I can start like practicing occupational therapy. But I'm also like, I'm kind of just taking it by what happens. I'm going to look into some other schools. I considered Northern Arizona University when I was first looking at colleges. So I might pop back over there and see what's up, but I'm not entirely sure. I do definitely want to kind of look at colleges that have speech programs just because it is really helpful, like not only financially if you can get a scholarship, but also it's been a safe thing for me. The one reason that I did decide to do Casper College and I did decide to keep doing speech was because I knew that like when you transition into college life, it's a lot. But having something that you're kind of familiar with is a really good way to kind of get through it. And so it was really nice because I moved into college and then I automatically had like all of these people that I already knew and like I had friends and I was able to do something that I know that I love and that I know that would like keep me motivated. And so it was a really good, it's been really good to like do college and also do speech. It's just been really helpful for me. So I would like to kind of keep doing that because it just is really fun.
Yeah, totally understand that. Are you involved in coaching at all? Have you been helping out with any programs or anything?
I do help out with Lander. I'm also just available if people ever need anything. I'm always willing to help out, debate, speech, whatever. So
Yeah, you've
I'm
done some
always just kind
judging
of
for the
around.
community too,
I
so
have, yes, I
we
do
appreciate
love to
that.
judge. I love judging. A lot of people like don't like it, but I love it. I think it's so fun. I love going back and getting to see like some of my best friends that are still in high school and but also just like I love watching rounds. I love being able to give feedback and say like, hey, like this could be like really dynamic if we do this. Like I just love going in and judging and being around the people that I've always really enjoyed. So I like it.
So just kind of a big picture question. What do you love most about speech and debate in general? I think you've covered a lot of this already, probably.
Oh my goodness.
What's your favorite?
Such a hard question. I think the thing that I always tell people is that I love an activity that encourages you to not only speak up, but to also listen. I think I've learned a lot about the world and about life just by listening to other people and their stories and what they've gone through. And so I think that's like absolutely my favorite thing about speech is that I love an activity that takes all of these young people and actually kind of puts the world in our hands and says like, how would you tackle this issue? What do you think is wrong? And I think that that's really important. And it's really like, I love the purpose. Like there is no other activity that you can be a part of that is so important for you and for others and for our future than speech and debate. Like it is just a phenomenal thing to be a part of. And it's important. I love being able to walk away from an activity and say that like, I learned something about myself. I maybe taught somebody else something and like I had a good impact on my community and on people around me. I think that that's really just unique to speech.
It's a good answer, Josie.
Thanks.
This last question, it's probably sort of semi-connected, I suppose, but I've been kind of closing out interviews at the Clapocalypse by asking folks about why speech and debate is worth the terror. Like you hear often about, like there's that study that's cited all the time about people being more like less afraid of dying than public speaking kind of thing, So if it's such a huge fear for people, like why is participating in speech and debate kind of worth it? What do you think?
Oh my goodness. I always think it's so funny when I tell people I do speech and they're like, wow, I'd rather die than, talk in front of people. And I totally get that. I definitely remember like some of my first rounds, I was like, wait, I'm supposed to like do this in front of people? That's weird. But I definitely think that it's worth it. One, because girl, you shine so much more when you have to do class presentations. When you're able to get it up there and just kind of razzle dazzle, your professors, they eat it up. They love it. But also I think that it's just worth kind of getting through that fear because I think it makes you a little bit more able to like, I don't know, I want to say it almost makes you safer because you're able to like be confident. It gives you like confidence. And so then if it ever does come to like a situation where you need to like stand up for yourself, I think you're more able to do that because you're able to like speak coherently and intelligently. So I do think it's really important that you get through the fear of public speaking because you're able to just connect better with people, but also stand up for yourself a little bit easier if you need to. So I don't know. I think it's really awesome. And just like the community that you get along with speech is so cool, and the friends, but mostly the confidence that you gain is like something that's just so useful in all of the other areas of life.
I really appreciate you coming and getting on the podcast. It's been really great to talk to you, and like maybe we could chat again in the future. It'd be really cool. So.
Absolutely. I'm always down. I am a chronic yapper. I will talk about speech whenever.
Thank you so much to Josie for her awesome interview. I'm excited to have her back on the show in the future. So what's going on in the Clapocalypse tomorrow? Camp One Clap counselor from last year, Alexis Worthen, is back to chat about Model UN and a whole bunch of things about the horror genre. So you'll want to be there for that. Remember to check the social media challenges on our socials, and we'll see you tomorrow, campers. By the way, take it easy on zombies. They're depressed, because they feel dead inside. For Camp One Clap, this is Camp Director Wiley, signing off.